You know, when I stood in front of the mirror, uh, mirror, actual mirror, to question the looker, to remove the looker, to despise the looker. Who the hell are you? You know, why are you stopping me from fitting in with people? Why are you? What is it that you're doing to me? What have I done? And you're talking to yourself. You know, you're not talking to another. You see, that's what we do. We deflect our. Firstly, this mirror was an awakening because you were looking at the one that was responsible for your life. No one else is responsible for the state of your life except yourself. But we have this incredibly intelligent way of saying, well, it's not me that's responsible, it's him, her, them. They're all responsible for me not being able to do this. They're all responsible for, for my failures and my um, misdoings. And if it hadn't been for them, if it hadn't been for her, if it hadn't been for him, it hadn't been for um, you know, I'm not going to identify with you. We know the animal we can blame, the car we can blame anything but ourselves because we are frightened to face up to ourselves for two reasons, both opposing reasons. One negative: I've let myself down, and I'm not strong enough or brave enough to actually answer to myself, to actually plead for forgiveness. I'm not able to forgive myself. You see, it appears as if there's two speaking, but there's only you in the mirror. There's only one. The positive is if I speak to myself, if I address myself, if I really own up to my misdoings, my misgivings, my failures, my stupidity, my foolishness, my inability to be myself, to be genuine, to be original, if I actually admit to that, I'll cross over. Crossover doesn't mean you move to the soul, the spirit. It means you've overcome that hurdle. And you're going to be different. You're not going to be in control anymore. You've handed over the reins to something that is yourself. Another dimension to yourself. You've admitted you don't accept, you don't agree, you don't relate to the quality of mind that you have inherited or accepted or created on your own. You see, we teach each other at school. We try and encourage each other in our own ways. And that's not true to the one that you're trying to encourage their own ways. You have an autistic child, and you want to do something for that autistic child to make it something that you can accept and adore and relate to. But that child does not want to be like that, maybe. That child is purely happy on its own. But we have this inability to accept that we are the problem with the autistic child, that we have the problem if our child is not doing good at school, that we have the problem because we see it in our own conditioned, programmed, experiential, ingrained way of how our thoughts are processed and managed by our parenting, our teaching, our friends, neighbors, family. The mirror doesn't fix the problems of the world. It only fixes your own problems. Most want to look in the mirror and look at their cosmetic body and say, "Oh yeah, your hair's looking a mess. You're needing a shave. Your eyes are looking, you- you're looking puffy. You need to lose weight. You need to do exercise. You need to eat more healthy." And that's okay. That's still looking at yourself in a physical way. But the psychological um, you never faces up to itself in any mirror. It always passes the buck. And this takes you to a rude awakening. And you feel glorified that you have stood up to yourself. And yourself has accepted this responsibility, and yourself has accepted, wow, I'm braver than I thought. I'm more able. And Christ calls it a new birth, reborn. Another opportunity to live your life in a more genuine and original way. So you don't pretend anymore to say to people things that you don't believe in, that you don't actually wouldn't participate in yourself. You don't say, go do that. You say to yourself, would I do it? No, so I'm not going to suggest that. So you find yourself not suggesting anything. You become, from the psychologist, the philosopher, you become that boring man. No, I wouldn't do that, so why should I tell them to do it? I would do that. So rather than tell them to do it, I'll do it. You pay no interest in others' lives, even in your workplace. I work in a place where I work with people, and the object is to help them rehabilitate, help them recover, help them support them in any way I can. But I wouldn't do anything to them that I would not do to myself. And it's a way of saying, I respect you as much as I respect me. And if you make someone do something that they don't want to do, you're not respecting yourself. You're not looking in the mirror. We are mirror creatures. We reflect and deflect. Whatever you say about another being, you're saying about yourself. Whatever you watch someone doing that you feel that you wouldn't do, you ignore and say, that's fine. It's their life. They have the ability to do whatever they want. That's why it's very difficult to accept policing and politicians, because they tell you to do things that you don't think is appropriate, is not right in the situation. You're maybe looking at it more safely than them. So there's a conflict. So you don't become the teacher, the policeman, the politician, because they're interfering with lives. You see, that's what we do as human beings. Look at your life. Look at you. Question yourself. Look in the mirror and say, who am I really? What am I really? Before this body took place, what was the intention? Why am I here? And you'll realize that you're on a world. You're in a world on your own. But there are other worlds around you, and their worlds are just as unique as yours. But they're completely diverse and different from yours. So you're just there. The idea is to be here. The idea is to reflect and deflect what the world means to you, what your life means to you. And no one does it. No one can do it from the beginning of the body existence to end of body existence. Not even this one, not even after enlightenment. Because we have centuries of judging, measuring, valuing, analytical, controlling, status-seeking, power-driven minds. Reptilian. We are animals, really, when we behave, telling each other, herding each other into workplaces, herding each other into the army, herding each other into um, churches and gospels. And it's not just about my attitude towards um, war. My attitude towards peace is just the same. The war and peace that exists is the war and peace within me. That's the only war and peace that I can resolve. If I can resolve that war and peace and become balanced, Buddha, I can reflect and deflect pure life with no particular qualities, no particular measurements, no particular um, auras, no particular ways, just to be here. When you stand in front of the mirror and the mirror tells you back, yeah, you wasted so much years. But the next years to follow, you have the opportunity to utilize these years. Not by doing what the mind ego says, not by running back into that world to say, I have to do voluntary work, I have to be a good father, I have to be a successful entrepreneur, I have to be the next Titian, I have to be the best dressed person. No, I have to be the most compassionate and kindest. No, I have to accept life as it is. I have to accept myself for what I am. An ongoing experience where good and bad from the evaluating ego mind will say, that's a good experience, Mr. Graham, Mr. Popsy, that's a bad experience, you did good, you did bad, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for your opinion, for your judgment, for your measurement. But I remain here as I am. I stay here as a being that simply exists, simply evokes within itself, not out with love. Simply, I can't find a word, simply transcends life, simply goes on and on with no purpose, with no method, with no practice, with no measurement, with no judgment, with no preferences. Birth and death are the same. They are just qualities of life. And that's what we are. That's what I am. Just life. Consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Same thing. An ongoing, never-ending, into the beyond experience. And if you can accept that experience, if you can accept that world outside as not pertinent to what is taking place in reality. You see, you can't say it's not pertinent to what is taking place in my life, because my life is full of war and peace. It's still engaging, still discussing war and peace. But it's pertinent to what is taking place beyond the overlaying veil, this illusion, this maya, this mask. That what lies beyond, is that what we are? That what lies beyond, is that what we are in the present moment now? That what lies beyond is I. Discover I. See through I. Ramana Maharshi says, the only word worth speaking inwardly is I. Be I.